Hey everyone, and welcome back to Investing Talk podcast. This week we're going to be looking at Porch Group, ticker
Oh,
symbol PRCH. They've been pretty hot in the market lately. They had a really big surge and
yeah, a lot of people talking about them on X and stuff,
right, yeah, exactly.
trying to figure out what's going on.
So that's kind of what we're going to be looking at today. We've got their earnings report and then just kind of some general market
Yeah, some
analysis.
analysts' opinions too.
Exactly. So hopefully we can kind of break it down and see what's really going on, see if it's hype or if there's something real here. So their Q4 2024 earnings report just came out.
hmm
What stood out to you when you first looked at it?
Well, the first thing was that they missed on revenue.
Oh,
They brought in $100.4 million, but analysts were expecting $110.26 million.
so not a great start.
No, not really. But the interesting thing is
Sure.
that they actually turned a profit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they had a GAAP net income of $30.5 million and an adjusted EBITDA of $41.8 million.
So they missed on revenue, but they're profitable.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It is, and I think the market is responding well to that because it shows that they're focusing on building a sustainable business model, not just
Yeah.
growing as fast as they can.
Right. Yeah. So it's more about, building that solid foundation, not
Exactly.
just going for growth at all costs.
Yeah, and we've seen a bunch of analysts upgrade them after the earnings report.
Oh, really?
Oppenheimer raised their price target to $8. Benchmark went even higher to $10.
Wow.
And Loop Capital and Keefe Bruyette and Woods both upgraded their price targets to $6.
Okay. So they're getting a lot of love from the analysts. What do you think is driving that?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with their strategy, especially in their insurance business.
Okay.
They're moving to a reciprocal insurance structure.
A reciprocal insurance structure?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Basically, it means that the policyholders are also part owners of the insurance exchange.
Ah.
So they share in the risk and the rewards.
So Porch is spreading the risk around a little bit.
Exactly. And that could lead to higher margins for them and more predictable revenue.
Okay, that makes sense. And I guess that's something that the analysts are liking.
Yeah, they seem to be pretty bullish on it.
All right, so we've got this company that's focusing on profitability. They're making strategic moves that are impressing the analyst. But let's talk about that stock surge because it was pretty dramatic.
Oh, yeah, it was huge.
On February 26th, they traded 32 million shares.
Yeah, that's like 13 times their average volume.
That's insane.
Well,
What does that tell us?
Well, it says that there's a lot of buying pressure, probably some short sellers covering their positions too.
Ah, the classic short squeeze.
Yeah.
Always fun to watch.
Yeah, but even beyond that one-day surge, the technicals look pretty good for Porch Group.
Okay, let's hear it. I love some technical analysis.
Well, the 50-day moving average is trending up.
Okay.
Before the surge, it was probably somewhere between $3.50 and $4. Now it's probably closer to $4.50 to $5.
And the 200-day moving average.
That's still catching up. But the gap is closing. We might even see a golden cross soon.
Golden cross. Now remind me what that is.
It's when the 50-day moving average crosses above the 200-day moving average.
Okay.
It's a signal that the upward momentum is continuing.
So we've got positive earnings, a wave of analyst upgrades, and the technicals are looking good. It's starting to sound like Porch Group's got it all figured out.
They're definitely doing a lot of things right.
But no stock goes straight up forever.
True.
Are there any warning signs that investors should be aware of?
Well, one thing to keep an eye on is the RSI, the Relative Strength Index.
Okay.
After that big surge, it's probably in overbought territory.
Overbought, meaning?
Meaning that the stock has gone up very quickly in a short period of time, and it could be due for a correction.
So don't go betting the farm just yet.
Right, exactly. A little caution is always a good thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, so we've covered the earnings, the analyst upgrades, and the technical indicators, all really interesting stuff. But let's zoom out a little bit and look at the bigger picture. What else is going on with Porch Group that might be contributing to this surge? We'll get into that right after a quick word from our sponsor.
Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast.
So we were talking about Porch Group, ticker symbol PRCH, and how they're doing a lot of things right. But what else is going on besides, the numbers? What's contributing to this positive momentum?
Well, one thing is that they've been really active in the market, going to investor conferences, presenting their story, talking to investors.
So they're not just sitting back and letting the numbers speak for themselves.
Right, they're getting out there, making connections, and they've also released their revenue guidance for 2025.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Wasn't it a little bit lower than what analysts were expecting?
Yeah, it was. They're projecting sales between $390 million and $410 million. And analysts were expecting $426.4 million.
So a little bit of a miss there, but they're still projecting a pretty healthy adjusted EBITDA, right?
Yeah, $60 million.
So again, it's that focus on profitability over growth.
Exactly. It seems like they're more interested in building a sustainable business.
Right, which I guess makes sense in this economy.
Yeah, with inflation and all the uncertainty.
Probably a good time to be focusing on, the fundamentals.
Makes them look a lot more attractive to investors.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
All right, so to recap, we've got a company that's focusing on profitability. They're making smart moves in their insurance business, and they're operating in a market that's, relatively stable, even when the economy is struggling. It's no wonder that people are excited about them.
Yeah, they've got a lot going for them.
But, like you said earlier, no stock goes straight up forever.
That's true.
So what should investors be thinking about here? Should they jump on this bandwagon, or is it time to pump the brakes?
Well, it really depends on your individual situation, your investment goals, your risk tolerance, your time horizon.
Okay, so give us the playbook. What are some different strategies that people could consider?
Sure. So if you bought in early before this recent surge, you could hold on to your shares. The breakout above $7 and the positive analyst sentiment suggests that there could be more upside.
So stay the course.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if you missed that initial surge, you could try buying on a dip. If the price pulls back to 6 or 650, that might be a good entry point.
Okay, and what about for the short-term traders?
If you rode that wave from $3.79 to $7, you might want to take some profits off the table above 7.
Lock in those gains.
Exactly. You don't want to get caught holding the bag if there's a correction.
Right, always good to manage that risk.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what your investing style is, the key takeaway here is to do your research, understand the company, and have a plan.
Absolutely. Don't just blindly follow the hype.
So to sum it all up, Porch Group is a company in transition. They're showing a lot of potential, but there's always risk in the market.
That's right. Things can change quickly.
This recent surge is exciting, but we need to approach it with caution.
I agree. A balanced perspective is essential.
All right, so before we wrap up, I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier about Porch Group's focus on profitability. Do you think this signals a larger shift in the tech sector?
That's a really good question.
Are we moving away from this growth at all costs mentality?
It's hard to say for sure, but it's definitely something to think about.
Yeah, maybe Porch Group is leading the way, showing that it's possible to build a successful business without sacrificing profitability.
It's possible.
But we want to hear what you think. What are your thoughts on Porch Group? Are you bullish on them, or are you a little bit more hesitant? Head over to our website or our social media pages and let us know.
We'd love to hear your perspective.
And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to Investing Talk Podcast, share this episode with your friends, and leave us a comment.
We always appreciate hearing from our listeners.
Thanks for tuning in.